There are humans living in space, not in a science fiction novel, not in a movie. Right now, orbiting 400 kilometers above the surface of this planet, traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour, six people are conducting experiments that may one day save your life. We have been leaving Earth for over 60 years, and somehow, after all that time, after moonwalks and Mars rovers and telescopes that peer to the edge of the universe, people still ask, why does it matter? Today, we are going to answer this question. And by the end of this video, I think you will agree, space exploration isn't a luxury. It's one of the most important things our species has ever done. Let's start with the most fundamental reason of all, survival. Earth is not forever. That might sound dramatic. In the past, our planet has been struck by massive asteroids. The one that killed the dinosaurs, a rock roughly 10 kilometers wide, caused a mass extinction that wiped out roughly 75% of all species on Earth. It happened before. It will happen again. The question is whether we will be ready. But asteroids aren't the only threat. Supervolcanic eruptions, solar flares powerful enough to knock out global power grids, pandemics, and let's be honest, our own behavior, climate change, nuclear weapons, ecological collapse. Any of these scenarios could threaten civilization as we know it. Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest scientific minds of history, put it plainly. A species that doesn't spread beyond its home planet is a species gambling with its own existence. Space exploration and eventually human settlement beyond Earth is our backup plan. Mars, the moon, asteroid mining, space habitats, these aren't fantasies. They are insurance policies. The more we invest in getting out there, the safer humanity becomes as a whole. Okay, but let's say existential threats feel abstract. Let's talk about something you probably used this morning, your smartphone. The technologies that make modern life possible. A staggering number of them came from space programs. Memory foam, originally developed to improve crash protection for NASA pilots, is now your mattress. GPS navigation systems came directly from satellite research. CAT scans or MRI technology evolved from image processing developed for lunar surface photography. Scratch-resistant lenses in your glasses, NASA. Water filtration systems used in developing countries, NASA. Cochlear implants, insulin pumps, baby formula, LASIK eye surgery, enriched baby food, firefighter breathing equipment, the list goes on. The NASA spin-off database catalogs over 2,000 technologies that originated in space programs and found their way into everyday civilian life. And these aren't fringe products. These are things that save lives, improve health, and generate enormous economic value. Every dollar that the US government invests in NASA generates an estimated 7 to 14 in economic return. That's one of the best return on investment ratios in the entire federal budget. When we push the limits of what's possible in space, we drag the rest of technology along with us. But here is a perspective shift. One of the most important things space exploration does is help us understand the planet we are already on. Our entire global weather forecasting system depends on satellites. The storm warnings that saves lives, satellites. The agricultural planning that feeds billions, satellite data. The climate science that tells us our planet is warming, you guessed it. Satellites and space-based instruments. The Hubble Space Telescope gave us breathtaking images of distant galaxies. Yes, but space-based observation also lets us monitor sea levels, deforestation, ice sheets, ice sheet, ice sheet loss, ocean temperatures, and air quality in real time with unprecedented precision. And studying other planets teaches us about our own. Venus, one thought to be a potential sister world, is a hellscape of 450-degree temperatures and crushing pressure caused by a runaway greenhouse effect. Understanding what went wrong in Venus helps us understand what we must not let happen here on Earth. Mars shows us a planet that once had liquid water, possibly a thick atmosphere, possibly even conditions for life, and then lost it all. That's not just fascinating, it's warning. It's a warning. Space gives us a mirror, and the clearer the mirror, the better we understand ourselves. Science, at its core, is humanity asking questions, and space is the greatest question of all. Are we alone in the universe? This isn't a trivial curiosity. It may be the most profound question our species has ever confronted. I think it is. The discovery of even microbial life beyond Earth, a fossil, a chemical signature, anything, would be the most important scientific event in human history. It would reshape our understanding of biology, chemistry, of what it means to be alive. We already know Mars had liquid water. We know Europa, a moon of Jupiter, has a liquid ocean beneath its ice. And where there is liquid water, on Earth at least, there is life. We know Enceladus, a moon of Saturn. We know Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, is actively venting water vapor into space. These are not empty worlds. They are worlds worth investigating. Beyond the question of life, the James Webb Space Telescope is giving us images of galaxies from just a few hundred million years after the Big Bang. We are literally seeing the childhood of the universe. Every new image redefines what we know about how stars form, how galaxies evolve, how planetary systems develop. This is knowledge that belongs to all of humanity. And without the will to explore, we will never have it. In 1968, astronaut William Anders took a photo from lunar orbit that changed everything. You have probably seen it. Earth, blue and white and impossible fragile, hanging in the black void of space, a marble, a gem, alone. Earthrise is one of the most reproduced photographs in history, and many historians credit it with igniting the modern environmental movement, because for the first time, human beings could see how small and precious and singular our home truly is. Space exploration does something nothing else can. It gives us perspective. It also gives us unity. The International Space Station is one of the most remarkable achievements in diplomatic history. Permanent human outpost in orbit, built and operated by 15 nations, including former Cold War rivals, Russian cosmonauts, and American astronauts, hundreds of miles above whatever conflict is happening on the surface. And when humans do extraordinary things in space, when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, when the Perseverance rover landed on Mars, when the James Webb first images dropped, the entire world watches together, not as Americans or Russians or Chinese, as humans. The shared sense of wonder, of possibility, of pride in what our species can accomplish, that matters. In this world, space reminds us what we can do when we reach for something bigger than ourselves. So why does space exploration matter? Because it might save our species from extinction. Because it generates technology that improves and saves lives on Earth every single day, time and again. Because it helps us understand our own planet and protect it. Because it answers the deepest scientific questions humanity has ever asked. And because it reminds us again and again that we are one small civilization on one small planet, capable of extraordinary things when we choose to dream big. The universe is vast, roughly 93 billion light years across, containing more stars than grains of sand on every beach on Earth. We have barely scratched the surface, and the only question that remains is whether we have the courage to keep going. I think we do.